If you are a fan of Days Gone, you know how frustrating it can be to navigate your way around the off-roads of the post-apocalyptic Pacific Northwest. If this is you, you're probably one of the people who play Survival 2 and constantly spam Survival Vision. Where was it again? Oh, wait, let me check. Where? Wait, I'm confused. Where was the road again? Oh, okay, it's down here. Or you're someone who plays on hard 2 because you want a challenge, but get frustrated at the lack of a minimap. Much better, now I can follow the waypoint. Today's guide will allow you to finally unlock one of the biggest skills required to dominate Days Gone on survival mode, map navigation. Welcome everybody to the channel, I'm your host G, and today I will walk you through a spoiler-free step-by-step guide of how I learned my way around the Days Gone map. After that, I will hold your hand through every region, giving you the information that I know about the various roads, landmarks, and terrain found in the world of Days Gone. Let's start with the guide. We'll start with a basic introduction. The world of Days Gone is separated into a small number of various regions, each with their own unique landmarks, weather, terrain, and collectibles. The game starts with 2 regions. More regions are unlocked as we progress through the game's main story. To open the map, press the touchpad followed by R1 or swipe from left to right on the touchpad, or if you're on PC, simply press M. Hovering over each region will display its name in the bottom left alongside the type and number of various tasks and collectibles found throughout the region. You can also see the region's completion percentage. Quick note that when you enter each region, you will see a prompt on the right side of the screen letting you know which region you have entered. For what follows, I highly recommend that you apply the next steps region by region. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the nitty-gritty. So here's the problem at hand. We look around us in the world, and we don't even know what the hell we're looking at, okay? And you look at the map, and you also don't know what the hell you're looking at. Now, thing is, it's pretty easy because I've split it into 2 things. Roads and landmarks. You see them? That's a landmark, that's a mountain, and this right here is a road. And so I made a course made up of 3 different chapters. Now the first 2 chapters are swappable, but only when in a specific region, like here in Belknap, if there is a major landmark that allows you to sort of organize all the roads around it. So yeah, this is a mountain, and it's a major landmark. In Cascade, all you have is trees, so it's much easier to start with the roads. And so, Chapter 1 talks about roads. And then, the next chapter, Chapter 2, will talk all about landmarks. And then, basically, throughout Chapter 1 and 2, we're basically getting the names of the roads and landmarks by utilizing the in-game road signs that are found all over the world of Days Gone. And yeah, in Chapter 3 we use other methods to get the names of the various landmarks and potentially roads. So yeah, let's get on with the course and let's get on with Chapter 1. Chapter 1. The roads. There are 2 kinds of roads in Days Gone, the main roads and the off-roads. We've all rescued a survivor and heard Deke say, stay off the main roads. However, just like the saying, you've gotta learn how to walk before you can run, you've gotta learn the main roads before you learn the off-roads. Part 1. The main roads. When you hear me say main roads, it means that the road is wide enough for cars to drive on them. And they come in 2 variants, asphalt roads and dirt roads. For simplicity's sake, let's stick to asphalt roads for now. Step 1. Map them out in your head. What we are doing is organizing the position of each road inside our imagination. To do this, open the map and, as the rippers say, follow the path, lost one. That's right, use your cursor and follow each road, making note of where in the region it begins and ends, while also counting how many roads there are in each region. Step 2. Read the signs. There are 3 kinds of signs that are important to us throughout this course. For this segment, I will only focus on one of them: crossroad signs. These signs are found at every intersection above stop signs, and they typically have 2 road names on them. The name of the road a sign is referring to is the road parallel to it. The reason for this is so the driver will see the name of the road they are potentially planning on turning into as the car, or in our case bike, approaches the sign. Note that some of these signs will only have one road name. Without spoilers, you will come across these during later stages in the game. The way road names are written on these signs is the name of the road followed by an abbreviation, which indicates what is the type of road this is. In the world of Days Gone, we only care about these ones: road, highway, drive, byway, lane, street, and way. Now, for those curious about every kind of road sign abbreviation and the definitions of each one, there are 2 links I will leave in the description for articles that go a little more in depth on the subject matter. As we ride along every main road, keep an eye out for every intersection and accompanying crossroad sign. This is the stage in the video where we start to care about the main dirt roads. These are wide dirt roads with grass in the middle. Now, just a quick side note, I may have said grass in the middle, but the middle part that separates a 2-way road is usually called a median, and it doesn't have to necessarily be grass, and it's not locked to dirt roads. It also applies to asphalt roads. It could be trees, it could be a concrete barrier. It is called a median, and it's not for separating 2 different lanes going in the same direction. It's only for opposing directions. So if a highway had 3 different lanes on one side and then 3 different lanes on the other side, you'd usually see a median in between both sides of a highway going in opposite directions. Yeah, and there's usually a concrete barrier in the middle. Not all of them have a name indicated on a sign, but you will notice, just like here in Belknap, the majority of them do. There are a few of these in Cascade, but the ones there lack names. You can use your newfound knowledge from the articles that I linked in the description to propose names on your own. More on that much later in the video, in the segment where I'm gonna hold your hand basically through the regions. Now, these dirt roads can be more common than asphalt roads, so you can feel free to learn the names of only a select few that you deem important to recognizing your way around a select region. At this point is where you'll start noticing how different segments of the same road have different names. For example, this road in Cascade is called Old Wagon Road, but as soon as we enter Belknap, its name changes to Black Crater Road. The same is true for Old Belknap Road. The moment it intersects with the now called Black Crater Road, its name changes to become Hawks Beard Road. Some names repeat even though the 2 are not linked. For example, Fitzloop Road in Belknap. This happens a few times in the entire game, so be aware. I have also experienced a bug where certain signs will fail to load the text on them. Now, this Big Bear Lake sign that I just showed in particular will never load text. It's a bug with a few signs in the game. There are 4 others that you're gonna face much later, but if you do face an issue where there is texture not loading or it's pixelated on any other sign in the game, yeah, make sure you either restart your machine or like completely shut it down and then turn it back on, whether it's a PC or a PlayStation. This happens on both platforms. So like don't put it to sleep and then turn it back on and play the game, and also don't like quit the game and re-enter the game with the machine still completely on, because that can cause a lot of texture issues. Now back to the video. Now there are 4 green signs in the game that are the crossroad signs, where they completely fail to load and will never load, so be wary. One of them is in Belknap, but from the surrounding area we can tell that it's supposed to say Black Crater Road. The other 3 are in a much later region in the game, so I'm not gonna spoil that for you. Part 2. The off-roads. They are thin dirt roads. These are not the main roads. They are safer, as you won't get sniper ambushes, wire traps, or rolling car traps, but they can be hard to navigate unless you understand how they are formed. I have split them into 3 types: detours, runs, and trails. Let's start with detours. The broken road in Days Gone gets its name from the various kinds of roadblocks formed since the beginning of the outbreak. With no government present to fix these roadblocks and maintain the roads, they stick out like a sore thumb, preventing bikers from riding the open road. These can be fallen trees, floods, rock or snow avalanches, broken roads, blown up bridges, blocked tunnels, car wreckages, and car roadblocks. Detours are simply the dirt roads formed to go around them. Our second kind of dirt road is called a run. A run is a road that is strictly formed near a body of water. So if you see a dirt road going around a lake or running along the sides of a river, that is a run. Sometimes 2 runs on opposite sides of a river will have bridges connecting them together. Our third and last type is the trails. Our article defines trails as roads located in wooded areas. While true in Cascade, these are found all over Days Gone. They are formed to lead to certain landmarks, connect landmarks to each other, connect roads to each other, or connect landmarks to roads. They may intersect with runs and detours. They can also go around hills and mountains. Sometimes a hill will have 2 trails, one at the top and one at the bottom. In case you are not getting the picture yet, there are too many of them, and unfortunately there is no straightforward way of learning them. My advice is to try using them when traveling in between landmarks and roads as you play through the game. A lot of these roads get used far too many times in the game that they'll start to become familiar, and memorizing the main roads and landmarks makes it far easier to recognize them as they start to become convenient and more fun to ride than their main road counterparts. Alright, so now that we're done talking about roads, we've got one more thing to look at chapter 1, and they are kind of similar to roads. The first thing we're looking at is obviously train tracks. Some regions in the game do have train tracks going through them, and just like the roads, we mark where they go the beginning and the end, and any landmarks along the way we take note of. That's simple. Here in the Cascade region, it helps out a lot in trying to navigate the entire region. And the other thing is, of course, rivers. Rivers are kind of like roads. They have a beginning and an end. You see this one? It flows all the way down here, and if you follow it, it goes up through here under this bridge and goes all the way here to this lake. So yeah, and rivers are technically part of the landmarks, which brings me nicely to chapter 2, landmarks. Landmarks can be divided into two types: terrain landmarks and architectural landmarks. Terrain landmarks are anything made by God. These can be mountains, caves, craters, ridges, gulches, waterfalls, springs, hot springs, rivers, meadows, valleys, and lakes. Architectural landmarks, on the other hand, are anything constructed by humans, such as buildings, bridges, mine shafts, tunnels, hydro dams, and even a town or a campsite. Learn to pinpoint the locations of these landmarks in your head and organize them around the main roads. For now, we will only be getting their names from signs. There are two more kinds of signs I need to talk about: recreation signs and direction signs. Recreation signs are brown and will immediately state the names of important terrain landmarks. Remember the bug that I was talking about, where sometimes the sign won't load what it's trying to say? That can happen sometimes with a few brown signs. You may also get a bug where the text will load, but it's going to be all pixelated. Direction signs are green and will point towards lore-accurate locations within the world of Days Gone. Some of these signs point to locations that were either cut from the game or were planned for a potential sequel. We need Days Gone 2. Alternatively, some direction signs may point to locations that you, the player, may not have unlocked yet, so be aware of potential spoilers. There are other methods to getting the names of landmarks, which brings me nicely to chapter 3. Progression. Road signs aren't the only way of learning landmark names. It is easier to learn the names of various landmarks by progressing through the game. I have broken it down into 3 different methods: missions and storylines, progression collectibles, and detail collectibles. Let's start with step 1, missions and storylines. There are 3 kinds of missions in the game that are all important to us. They are indicated by triangles on the map. The yellow ones are main story missions. Brown ones are encampment jobs, and white ones are canon story missions that are temporarily available. If you progress through yellow story missions, you may lose access to these white story missions. The white ones add detail to the story and give you XP, but they serve no purpose in forms of progression. All of these missions can give you clues to the names of roads and landmarks. We will divide every mission into 3 time intervals: pre-mission, intermission, and post-mission. Let's start with pre-missions. Hovering over a mission before it starts can give you details. Now, while you can't do this with the prologue missions, after you're done with the mission called Drifters on the Mountain, you can feel free to hover over the mission before it starts. During missions, the top left of the screen tells you directly what to do. Sometimes it'll mention the name of a place. By opening your map during a mission and hovering over it, you can find extra details. But by opening storylines, you will find the active mission log. This is only available during the mission and will disappear afterwards. For example, during Bad Way to Go Out, the mission log says, walk point through Belknap Tunnel. This is the only mention in the game for the name of this tunnel. It is also important to listen closely to dialogue as we get clues to where the missions take place. For example, during Hear About a Ripper Camp, we learn that this location is called Separation Meadow. We may also use this to figure out where a mission is located without having to check the map.
Alki says they've set up shop at the old Forest Service watchtower on the east slope of Three Finger Jack.
Yep, I know where it is, and I'll handle it.
Now let's talk about post-mission. When the mission is done, Deacon writes about his thoughts. This journal can be found under the Progress tab in the Storylines page. It gives us insight about various story details, landmark details, and of course, Deacon's feelings. Now let's talk about Step 2. Progression Collectibles. These are collectibles that cater to the game's progression. They have their own storylines and make Deacon stronger and provide him with trust and credits. They may also allow you to unlock certain weapons in the game. They are ambush camps, Nero checkpoints, and research sites, infestation zones, and hordes. All of these have names that describe the landmarks where they are located. Note that the research sites don't have names, but you will almost always find a micro recorder which can give you a clue about the name of the site.
Another micro recorder. One of these is gonna explain what the hell you guys are doing out here. Rebel Rock. Yeah, I know where that is. West of Hot Springs, south of Patchen's Lakes.
More on those later. Another thing to watch out for is horde names. Each horde can be found at one of 3 different locations. Their daytime hibernating location, and at night, feeding location in the form of corpse disposal sites, aka mass graves.
This gravesite. I didn't know there was one up here. That's why there's so many freaks in Marion Forks. It's a goddamn feeding ground up here.
And a drinking location at a nearby body of water. These 3 locations may be far apart and a horde may be named after one of them. For example, Patchen's Lakes Horde gets their name from their nighttime drinking location, as their daytime location is called Rebel Rock Cave. Remember when I mentioned that sometimes roads can have the same name, but be completely separate from each other? Well, some landmarks in the game may have similar names, but also be separate from each other. Okay, so here's an example of a name that repeats. This is Rebel Rock Cave. We keep mentioning it, but I'm just trying to be as spoiler-free as possible. Now, it does repeat in a later region in the game, but it is cut content, so I'm not really spoiling anything. So I've got a mod called Debug Cheat Menu, and I open it by hitting Control and Backspace. And I'm gonna censor a lot of the stuff. If I go down to World Debug, go to Teleport to POI Location, that means point of interest. We've got execute, so let's execute it. And if I go down to this here region that I'm gonna censor in the editing, you can see right down here we have something called Rebel Rock Lava Cave. And if I try to teleport there, it is out of bounds and I'm just gonna fall through the map. But this is, yeah, Just interesting that this name repeats. Now, there are a couple other places in the map that do repeat in their names, but that is spoiler territory, and I will leave that until the hand-holding part of this video. I would like to give a small shout out to AM Frenzy for providing us with this beautiful piece of information. This brings us nicely to step 3, detail collectibles. I like to call these unproductive collectibles because unlike the previous ones, these do not cater to the game's progression, but they add detail to the game's story. We won't look at all of them, but there are a select few that can help us learn the map. These are historical markers, tourism collectibles, and Nero micro recorders.
Another Nero recorder. What happened here?
Just make sure to check the storylines for extra details. As for the micro recorders, you won't find all of them at Nero checkpoints and research sites.
Oh, another one of those micro recorders. Yeah, wonder what happened here. Another Nero recorder. What happened here?
You have to check Horde feeding grounds in the form of the mass graves.
Another micro recorder. One of these is gonna explain what the hell you guys are doing out here.
As well as going back to Nero's spy mission locations after they are done. Sometimes you may also find a micro recorder inside of a Horde cave.
Another Nero recorder. What happened here?
Now, a quick note on historical markers. Sometimes a historical marker won't be talking about the location it is located in. Sometimes it's a vantage point for something it is looking out to. Another quick side note is when you check the storylines, you should know that some landmark names in the Days Gone game, these are based on places in real life. Sometimes they have the same name, other times they don't have the same name. If you go to storylines and find that the name of this place is written as it is in the game, followed by another name between quotation marks, just know that the name in between quotation marks is the real name of this place. This is not true every single time. Sometimes this is either referring to some historical event that happened at this place, or it could be an Easter egg left by the developers based on something from the real place. Or it could be just a small pun. For example, the Salome Hot Springs is called the Salt Springs. So I'm actually a little bit wrong. There is a hot springs camp in Oregon called the Salt Springs, but so as you can see right now I'm on a road called Mackenzie Wagon Road, right? And I was trying to find out what is the name of this river here, right? And during my research, so basically I found out Shadow Lake, which is this lake right here, is actually in Washington. This river is called the Fish Lake River. Yes, it's a very stupid name for a river, I know. But yeah, and it pours into a lake called Clear Lake, which I'm assuming might be this lake or not. In the real map, Three Finger Jack and Mackenzie Wagon Road are really far apart, so after Clear Lake you have another river called Mackenzie River, and this road actually doesn't end here, it actually continues all the way down here. And there's like a bend at like the bottom section of this road, and then there is a spring called Belknap Springs, and next to it I found a campground called Belknap Hot Springs. So it's not called Salome Hot Springs like it is in the game. And when I looked it up, I'm gonna put the screenshots on your screen. That's Tucker's camp. You can see this here, this little walkway circle thing. You can even see this bridge, this house, and this pool. It's just called Belknap Hot Springs. And it is not along Bear Creek like it is in the game. In real life, it is along the Mackenzie River, which isn't anywhere in the game. This river is called Bear Creek. It's the same river that's here. These are the Bear Creek Hot Springs. Yeah, so that was interesting, and it's also not west of Three Finger Jack. Three Finger Jack is more like north of Hot Springs in real life, and the entire location is actually a lot more like the Cascade region. It's less deserty, if that's a word. So yeah, the quotation marks don't always mean that's the location's real name. Remember, these are based on real places. They may be renamed or reorganized. There could be some kind of hint in the collectibles page. Yeah, so where do we go to historical markers? Let me see. Salome Hot Springs. So this right here, it just says Salome Hot Springs. It does say the Salt Springs, and if we read over here, it tells you who found it. And for some reason, it says Salome was at one time called the Salt Springs because of its mineral salt content. Yeah, so maybe the place in real life used to be called the Salt Springs, and then it was renamed Belknap Springs because there is a place called Salt Springs. I don't know. But yeah, it makes you curious. It makes you want to research the thing more. I've been nerding out a lot over the geography of Oregon because of this game. Now that we're done, it's time I hold your hand through every region, telling you everything that I know from the names of the roads and the various landmarks, and how I know my way around each region.